Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 996th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Just to say that this is a cracking battle, and we're going to have a close look at the Germania faction. Okay, this battle was fought on one of our traditional old maps, the Nordic woodland map. Okay, if you notice that any barbarian troops get the winter bonus, and also they can get the woods bonus as well. Okay, so anybody that wants to bring a barbarian faction, as I say, get the winter and the woods bonus as well. Okay, our first teammate is Brotherhood member Spitfyr, who has bought the Dacian faction. Unusual for him to bring the Dacian faction. Now he's got 14 chosen swordsmen, 4 phalanx men, 1 dog unit and 1 cavalry general. Quick look at the upgrades on his chosen swordsman there, and you'll see he's got 8 upgrades. That's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. I know I've been talking about chosen swordsmen for a long time. They are a very underestimated infantry unit, and you put good upgrades on and you'll be surprised on how tough they are. He's got 4 phalanx men there. Okay, he's just got gold shield, gold attack on them. If you look closely at those kind of scythes that they carry there, they're kind of like curved scythes there. Can be very effective. And if you notice there, he's got a warhound unit there. Very unusual to see that on the 31k battlefield there. So I think that's an interesting Dacian army, and to my knowledge that's the first time he's bought that particular army. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Fesen. Now he has never bought the Numidian faction before, so this is his first outing with Numidia. Now he's got 16 legionnaires, okay, and he has got 2 elephants. Now Numidia is looked upon as probably the weakest 31k faction in the game, so the only way that we could make it competitive on the 31k battlefield is to change the rules a little bit for Numidia, so we allow them 2 elephants now. Okay, they've got 2 elephants, and if they want they can bring limitless cavalry as well. If you notice, he's got 8 upgrades on his Numidian legionnaires. They look a little bit like Roman legionnaires, but let me just tell you how poor they are. I've seen these guys fully upgraded, right, and they still suffer archer damage head on. That's how weak they are. Their morale's poor. Even fully upgraded, they still get killed by archers being shot at them head on. Very, very weak infantry. And even if you look at them, they do look a little bit like Roman infantry, but they're very poor. So that's why we allow 2 elephants. Now these guys, I think, have got something like a 13. I think they got 13 hit points. They got a massive fear factor, taking morale away from enemy troops, and they've got big charge abilities as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Fesen handles this Numidian army. As I say, to my knowledge, it's the first time he's ever bought Numidia. So, as I say, it'll be interesting to see how well he does with it. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Vicox Beats there. A lot of you know Vicox, very good player. Now he's got 14 Spartans and 6 light cavalry. Okay, 14 Spartans, 6 light cavalry. Quick look at the upgrades on his cavalry, just gold shield, gold attack. He'll use his cavalry around the battlefield to hit weakened, tired units, and they are a very useful unit to have. And our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Germania faction. Now, just to say, I've bought an army from 2007, 2008. I've gone back in time and bought it to 2025, plus a battle formation that I was using back in 2007, 2008. So be interesting to see how well it does. We're going to look at Germania a little bit more closely later on in the battle. So we have got an extremely diverse team. We've got Dacia with Spitfyr. We've got Numidia with Fesen. We've got Greek cities with Vicox. And we've got myself with Germania. As I say, it's got the potential to be a cracking battle. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Mars, who's bought the Macedon faction. Now he's got 3 levy spearmen, 11 royal pikemen, and 6 cavalry. Okay, have a quick look at their very small 1 upgrade on that cheap levy pike unit there. Okay, remember the levy pike units, very low morale, very cheap units. And there you've got his royal pikeman there, and there's his cavalry, very well upgraded, I would suggest. I think he's got something like 7 upgrades on his cavalry units there, the companion cavalry. So, of course, most of his army are hiding in the woods there. Be interesting to see how well he uses that faction during the course of the battle. Their next teammate is someone who's called himself the Kirminator. We believe that it's a well-known RTW player, but I'm not quite sure who it is. Now, he's got, get ready for this, 20 Sacred Band units. Yes, 20 Sacred Band units there. So that's a heck of a lot of spear power that he's bringing to the battlefield. But I would suggest with 20, the upgrades would not be that great. Okay, their next teammates is Brotherhood member Tabor. Now, Tabor's got the Seleucid faction, and he has got, get ready for this, just 16 pikes. No cataphracts, no cavalry, 16 pikes. And if you look at the upgrades on his pikeman there, can you see he's just got 7 upgrades? An experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Now, we know Seleucid morale is very, very poor. Now, the general unit there, it looks like it might be fully upgraded. But the rest of his units, and I think in that rear line, he's got 8 upgrades on. But we know that Seleucid morale is not very good, so the more experience stripes, the better. And their last teammate is Brotherhood member Royer, who has bought the Gaul faction. Now, he's got 16 chosen swordsmen and 4 cavalry that he's got hiding in the woods. Okay, 16 chosen swordsmen. If you notice there, I think his chosen swordsmen have just got gold shield, gold attack on them there, which isn't a lot of upgrades for chosen swordsmen. I'd like to see at least 1 experience stripe on them there. So it'll be interesting to see how well they do during the course of the battle. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at my old Germania army and battle formation from 2007 and 2008, and also to talk about Germania as well, which I believe is a very unique and unusual faction to Rome Total War. Okay, so this battle formation here, 2007, 2008, I've gone back in history and I've brought it back, gone back in time. You'll see that the outer layer of this battle formation consists of 12 chosen axemen. Okay, so the outer is 12 chosen axemen. Then I've got 3 Knight Raiders. Now, the Knight Raiders is okay, they're okay, but I don't bring them for their battle prowess. What I bring them for is the fear factor that they bring to the battlefield. They're not great infantry, they're okay, but they're not great. But the fear factor that they bring, taking morale away from enemy troops, destabilizing them, and making them more susceptible to routing. Okay, so that's the 3 Knight Raiders. Then I've got the 3 infamous Berserkers with their 2 hit points, excellent attacking specifications, effective against armor, mace, but also a big fear factor as well. Once again, taking morale away from enemy troops, destabilizing them. So there you are. I've got 6 morale sapping units there. 3 Knight Raiders and 3 Berserkers. Okay, very, very important ingredients to a Germanic army. Okay, and then I've got the Screeching Women there. Now, Screeching Women are a morale boosting unit. Okay, very important for a barbarian faction there. Okay, you need morale boosting units there. And then I've got my cavalry general. Now, the reason I've got a cavalry general, okay, is because it's fast moving. If it's threatened by heavy enemy cavalry, he can outrun them because he's an armoured cavalry general unit there. But also I can move him quickly to any part of the battlefield as well, and he can blow his rallying bugle. Now remember, the general's rallying bugle is a big morale boosting thing to do. Okay, so having a very mobile, fast-moving Germanic general is very, very important. And just a little talk about Germania here. They're, as I say, a very unique and unusual faction to me on Rome Total War. Make no mistake, they can be a battle-winning faction. Veterans watching this, how many times have you seen Germania cause enemy teams to mass rout? Okay, we've seen that over and over again. But with Germania, if you get the timing wrong, and they start suffering heavy casualties from pilers, or they get smashed by big enemy cavalry hits, you'll find that the Germania army will just disintegrate and rout. So in some ways it's very strong and battle winning, but in other ways it's extremely fragile and weak if you don't use that faction correctly. So as I say, potentially a battle-winning faction, and I'm hoping this 2007-2008 army and battle formation is still effective, but we just have to wait and see. But if I get the timing wrong with the attack, and I start taking heavy casualties, make no mistake, this Germania army will mass rout. Be interesting to see. Okay, at this very, very early stage of the battle here, you'll see that I've got to run all the way over here from the left flank all the way over to the right flank, as a team has decided we're going to form up on the right flank here. So once again, I've got to run all the way over there, hopefully without being intercepted by enemy troops. That's always the risk of running from one flank to the other, interception. And just what I wanted to show you here is that, can you see that Spitfyre's Dacian army is very, very close to the woods in front of him there? And it makes me think he's going to take that Dacian army into the woods there, because at the moment he's getting the winter bonus. If he goes into the woods, he'll also be getting the woods bonus as well. Okay, so it looks to me like he's taking his Dacian army into the woods. Now, he's a long way away from his allies here, so I think he's possibly going to get a little bit isolated there if he moves into the woods. Okay, now you've got the Macedonian pikes of Mars, and you've got the Carthaginians there of the Kirminator, and it'll be interesting to see how they're going to respond to Spitfyre's Dacians moving into the woods. It'll be just interesting to see what they're going to do there. Now, poor old Numidia here, Fesen's Numidians here, are facing potentially the elite Carthaginian spearmen, so he's moving his units back, which I would suggest is a good tactical move there. He certainly doesn't want to take on the elite Carthaginians there with his Numidian legionnaires, I would suggest. There you can see that Vicox is bringing his Spartans over, and as I say, I'm running my troops over as fast as I can. But the main thing here, I think, to concentrate on is what Spitfyr is doing here with his Dacian army. As I say, he's moving them into the woods there. So he's getting the winter bonus and he's getting the woods bonus as well. Now remember that morale is very, very important to barbarian troops, and we're going to see something a little bit later on here in regard of the Dacians that you might be interested to see in regard of morale. Okay, so as I say, you can see him running his Dacians deep into the woods now, and I can see that Mars is moving his elite Macedonian troops towards the Dacian infantry here. Okay, so make no mistake, it looks to me like there's going to be a bit of a confrontation here in the woods. Okay. Now those levy pikemen that we looked at earlier, the really cheap ones with hardly any upgrades on and very low morale, it wouldn't surprise me that they would rout on contact actually with the Dacians here. We just watch that and see what happens. As you can see here, Spitfyr is moving his Dacians away, maybe drawing the Macedonians more into the woods. Maybe this is a tactic that Spitfyr is looking to do here. Draw the Macedonians more into the woods, and then all of a sudden hit war cry and attack. Maybe that's what he's looking to do here. There you are. You are charging into those forward, cheap, low morale levy pike units there, and as I say, it wouldn't surprise me if they almost routed on impact. Two of them's gone already, just this one left here. As I say, those levy pike, they are, that's the third one gone. So all three of those cheap, low morale levy pikemen have gone. He is now attacking the royal pikemen, the elite pikemen there, with his Dacian chosen swordsman. Okay, so he's attacking. Now look at that Macedonian general. The Macedonian general looks to me quite exposed to a Dacian attack. And if Dacia could take out the general, that'd be great. Just want to show you a great tactical move here. Can you see what Spitfyr is doing with elements of his phalanx men and chosen swordsmen? He's moving them around the flank or around the rear of the engaged Macedonians. Great tactical move this. New players to Rome Total War. This is a really good example of what you should do in battle. Get around the flank or rear. Remember, that's the weakest part of any unit on Rome Total War, the flank and the rear. And you can see here that Spitfyr is taking those Dacian troops around the flank. They're going to smash into the flank of those Macedonians. You'll see that Mars has spotted the threat and he's turned pikemen to actually kind of counter that attack there, if you notice. So the Dacian troops are really attacking here, and I guess that Spitfyrs hit war cry. Remember, when you hit war cry, that enhances the attack specifications of your troops. Okay, now meanwhile, back over on the flank that we were all moving to. You'll see my Germanic troops have moved over from the left flank over to this right flank, and you'll see that Vicox has brought some of his Spartan units over as well. There, okay, so we're forming up here. But as I say, Spitfyer's Dacians there, he kind of like has kind of got himself a bit isolated. You've got the Carthage army here that could may well attack the Dacians here. Okay, but as I say, you can see there that that attack on the flank of the Macedonians there by Spitfyr, nice move. As I said there, well, he's holding and pinning the Macedonian forward units there. Oh, great news. That's great news for us. The Macedonian general that we saw was very exposed has just been killed by the Dacians. So that takes a general morale bonus away from the Macedonians there. So that's a good move there by Spitfyr there. And you can see it's a very intense battle. Here comes the Warhounds. Look, can you see the Warhounds are now charging in as well? As I say, a very unusual unit to see on a 31k battlefield. Right, now I was talking about morale being very, very important here. Can you see, if you look, can you see defeat seems certain? Can you see the Dacian troops that have still got big numbers? Can you see they've still got big numbers there? But look what they're thinking, okay? Defeat seems certain. Only a military genius could win this battle. Okay, so their morale is very, very low. Now, shall I tell you why I think their morale is very, very low and why they feel they're definitely going to lose this battle, even though you can see they've got massive numbers still. They haven't hardly suffered any casualties, and yet they feel that they're going to lose. Okay, as I say, if you look there, you can see defeat is a certainty for them. And the reason for that, I think, is because the general is too far away. The general morale bonus is too far away from his troops. Do you see what I mean? So the general, I think, I don't know what all of you think, but I think he's just too far away to be giving his troops the general morale bonus that they need to carry on fighting. So their general's not near them. They're not getting the general morale bonus. And as we know, in general, barbarian troops' morale is low anyway. And there you'll start to see there, can you see there could be a mass rout here? Can you see the Dacian troops are starting to mass rout here, even though they've got big numbers? They've still got big numbers there, but they're starting to mass rout because their morale has dropped so much, because I think, as I say, the general was too far away to be giving that general morale bonus. And there you are, you can see the Dacians now have mass routed, and it wouldn't surprise me if Mars drove them to the red line. Those routing troops, he'll chase them to the red line, and of course, once they go over the red line, there's no rallying from there. There you are, you can see all these Dacian troops now have been routed, mass routed there, because their morale dropped, and they just mass routed, and the Carthaginians haven't even got involved. The Carthage troops were moving in to attack, but they just didn't even get involved. So it's not looking very good on our right flank now. The thing is, what should we do here? Macedon and Carthage are over on the right flank and still dealing with Dacia. Should we, our three armies, attack the two enemy armies in front of us, Tabor and Royer there? Should we attack the Seleucid and Gaul army in front of us? Is that what we should do? Well, the Carthage and Macedonians are away. Is that something that we should do? What do you think? Please put your thoughts in the comments. Should we attack now? You know, take advantage of a 3-on-2. What do you think? Maybe that's what we should be doing here. But at the moment, we're kind of just kind of not sure of what. It strikes me looking at this here. We're not quite sure of what we should do. Well, poor old Spitfyr's Dacian army is actually getting kind of smashed and crashed over here. And like I said, you can see Mars has drove those routing units over the red line to stop them from rallying. Okay, if you notice here, I think one of these units had quite a few numbers. They were 40. Now, my guess is that that unit would have rallied. But because it's gone over the red line, look, there's no rallying. Once you've gone over the red line, there's no coming back. That's kind of like the deadline. if you like, there. Once you go over that red line, that's the dead line. There's no rallying, no coming back. And that's why Mars has driven those routing Dacian troops over the red line. Nice move there by Mars, actually, doing that. But it's cost us our allies' Dacian army there. And he's got his cavalry there as well. I'm not sure how many casualties Mars suffered. We know his general got taken out, but it looked to me like it's pretty bad. I say the Carthaginians there were coming in to help as well, but they weren't needed in the end because the Dacian morale just kind of collapsed and they mass routed there. So as I say, really here, in all fairness, as I say, with Macedon and Carthage being away, I think we should, move fast and attack those two enemy armies in front of us in a 3v2 attack. I don't know what all of you are thinking there, but it seems to me like we're just kind of just being passive here. Whereas obviously watching the battle replay here, attacking these two armies in front of us should be what we should do here. There you can see, as I say, the pikes there of the Seleucids there, and the Gaul army of Royer there. They're prime targets for a 3-on-2 attack if we're quick. But I think that Macedon and Carthage over there could be back across soon. Okay, at this stage of the battle, we finally decided we're going to attack the two armies in front of us. Okay, so you see we're moving on down. You notice I'm taking my Germanic army around the flank here. I'm looking to get down in the woods and then attack the flank of the enemy troops from there. You'll see Fesen taking his Numidian army forward, those legionnaires there, to throw a lot of pilers into those forward Seleucid pike units there. Make no mistake about that, we want to damage them as much as we can before we get into any hand-to-hand fighting there. Okay, I'm going to guess his Tabor has put his pikes down at any time. There you are, you can see the pikes have gone down there. He thinks he may well be attacked, but if you just watch the pilers now being thrown in, there you are. Look, it's like a rain. It's like raining pilers down onto those Seleucid pike units there. He's put one unit to attack, probably to try and draw the pilers onto that one unit there. Okay, just pause the game for a second here. So there you'll see that Macedon and Carthage are now starting to move over towards their allies. I'm just wondering here whether Vicox is thinking about maybe throwing those units in there just to slow the Carthaginians down, maybe giving us a chance to try and take out these two armies. Okay, you can see my Germanic army, I've managed to get round the flank there. But it wouldn't surprise me if these two armies retreated from us. It wouldn't surprise me, as I say, of Royer and the Seleucid general there, Tabor, are actually retreating now. Here you can see Vicox getting those Spartan units around the flank of those enemy troops. So I would say watch out for the Seleucids and the Gaul army to start looking to retreat now. You can see Fesen moving his Numidian legionnaires forward again to throw more pilers into those Seleucid pikemen there. Okay, make no mistake, there'll be a lot of pilers being thrown once again into those Seleucid pike units there, trying to obviously weaken them as much as we can before we actually get into hand-to-hand fighting. We just pause the game for a second here. You will see the dead there, all those Seleucid pikemen there killed by Numidian pilers there. Remember that the Numidians are actually on slightly higher ground as well, so their pilers will go further and do more damage. You'll see that Fesen's got his elephants around the flank. Now if you look at what the enemy troops are thinking here, if you read the writing there, can you see frightened by elephants? Okay, if you look again there, can you see frightened by elephants? Once again, frightened by elephants there. And these guys are all morale, their morale is going to be dropping a lot because they're frightened by elephants. Don't forget, I got my Night Raiders and Berserkers there as well. But you'll see, as I say, the Seleucids and the Gaul army there are pulling back now, which I think is a good tactical move for both Royer and Tabor there to move their armies back. But you can see here our Numidian ally chasing after them. You see my Germanic troops there. I'm looking to hit them while they're on the run. Try and rout as many of those units as I can. We know that a lot of those Seleucid units have got only one experienced strike, gold shield, gold attack, so their morale's not very good. And with lower upgrades like that, there's a potential here we could rout a few of these Seleucid pike units, which will be good for us, I think. Here you can see Vicox running his Spartans forward there. You can see the Numidian legionnaires. You can see my Germanic troops running forward as well. As I say, trying to rout as many of those Seleucid pike units. There, can you see that Spitfyer's got his general still alive there? The Dacian general there just ran in there as well. And you can see, oh my gosh, this is good news for us. Look at all those Seleucid pike units that have now been routed there. Oh my gosh, that's really good news for us. Okay, so there you can see a lot of the Seleucid pike units there are just starting to kind of almost mass rout. Now, bearing in mind we've lost our Dacian allies army here, any routing units that we can get is going to help us there. But you can see there that the Macedonians have arrived, and you can see the Carthaginians are fast arriving here as well. So as I say, with us losing our Dacian allies army there, any units that we can mass rout, kind of like these Seleucid pikes, is going to help us there. Okay, so and now we need to just make sure that those Seleucid routing pike units do not rally. So I'm guessing here that my allies will chase those units down. Now, if you notice here, can you see I haven't deployed the berserkers? Okay, it's not time to deploy the berserkers yet. As I say, with Germania, you've got to get the timing just right, and the battle conditions have got to be just right to get the full benefit of the Germanic army, you know. So, and it's not time yet. So if you notice here, I'm going to pull my Germanic army back. I think it's time for me to kind of pull back and reorganize now. There, you'll see I'm moving over towards that clump of trees there. All right, but you can see the Carthage army has now come in to join its allies. Remember that spears and pikes kill barbarian troops quite quickly, so I need to be very aware of that Carthage army that has just joined up with its allies there. Okay, need to be very aware of that. And you'll see that Royer's cavalry that he's had hidden for most of the battle, he's brought round behind us there. Those four barbarian cavalry units there. So he's just brought those round there, possibly trying to surprise us with the cavalry that he's been hiding. Right, pause the game for a second here. So you'll see that my allies here have made sure they've chased away those Seleucid routing units to stop them from rallying. So that's really good tactical move by my allies there. Those Seleucid pikemen aren't going to rally now. They've been chased away. Over here you'll see our Numidian ally Fesen there. Now, to me, he's a bit too close to the enemy troops. Okay, if I was him, I'd pull my Numidian army back, because, as I say, Numidian infantry, veterans watching this, you know what I'm saying here. The Numidian infantry, no matter what upgrades you put on them, are pretty poor. And I'm just thinking, if there was a lightning attack by the enemy troops, they could possibly rout that entire Numidian battle formation there. So there was a good move that Fesen's moving his troops back there. I thought that was a good move. And also he's moved them back. You can see that there's some Spartan units there to kind of brace his units. If you notice here, I'm starting to move over to the right a little bit here with my Germanic army. But as I say, I'm very aware of that Carthage army there with their very effective spears that could kill my troops quite quickly head on. Okay, but here, as I say, don't forget you've got that basically a whole Gaul army there of 16 chosen swordsmen that are totally intact, fresh, ready to attack. And make no mistake, those chosen swordsmen there will beat the Numidian legionnaires in a head-on attack. So I'm guessing here that the enemy troops are looking at the Numidian army here with a view to attack. Now, if you notice here, can you see that Vicox is taking his Spartans around the flanks? So by doing that, he's taking the Spartans away from our Numidian ally here. So all you've got now is Numidian legionnaires. And remember that Numidia is looked upon probably as the weakest 31k faction, simply because their infantry is so poor no matter what upgrades you put on. And make no mistake, the enemy will know this. Okay, now, as I say, do you notice here I'm moving my Germania army over to the right? Now, there's a reason I'm doing that. Okay, you'll notice here that the ground is slightly sloping down here. Can you see? if you look there, you'll see that the ground has got a slight incline, a slight slope. So I'm trying to get onto the higher part of that incline there to give me, you know, a kind of a little bit of an advantage when I charge. I'll be kind of charging down the slope, and I'm hoping I'll get some additional bonuses from that. If you know, if I charge down the slope. But here you can see Seleucid units there attacking the forward units of the Numidians. Now, to me, that is like a prelude to maybe a massive attack on our Numidian ally. Make no mistake, they would be looking to punch a hole straight through our Numidian ally there, mass routing those legionnaires there. And you know, that could be a battle winning tactic. Just want to show you a nice move here by Fesen. Can you see how he's quietly moving his elephants around the flank and around the rear of the enemy troops there? Just quietly moving them. He's not running them, just walking them quietly round behind them there. Okay, so nice tactical move. Newer players to Rome Total War. Just look out for the nuances in our battles here that you can spot. Just little things that could make a big difference later on. Okay, but as I say, here I feel that poor old our poor ally here is going to get hit pretty hard here. Our Numidian ally here is going to get hit pretty hard here. Poor old Fesen here. I can see that that Gaul army locked and loaded, and I can see that Royer's got his finger on the trigger. Right, here we go. Okay, so mass attack now on the Numidian infantry. Now, what's Fesen going to do? Is he going to withdraw, or is he going to... Right, he's going to attack. He's going to counter-attack with his units here. Can you see? He's trying to counter-attack there. But make no mistake, their chosen swordsmen will beat those Numidian legionnaires. You can already see that starting to happen. I can already see a couple of Numidian units starting to rout already, like almost on impact. You've got Seleucid pikemen in there as well. Make no mistake, they're looking to mass rout our Numidian ally. Now, what I'm looking to do here is to try and charge down into the flank of those attacking troops. But look what's between me and them. That Carthage army. 20 units of Sacred Band there. And the last thing I want to do is take them on head on. Okay, but there's something could happen here that may well allow me to attack those Carthaginians. Okay, right, you can see that Carthage army there moving over to try and block my attack into the flank of his allies. Okay, so you'll see here that he's moving over here to stop me attacking the flank of his attacking allies. Okay, but by doing that, you can see the trajectory of his infantry here is from left to right. Okay, so he's moving from left to right. Now, can you see what I mean about an opportunity for me to attack here? Okay, but by moving from left to right, he is now exposing his flank. Now, remember that in Rome Total War, the flank and the rear of armies and units are the weakest part of that army or a unit. Okay, so what I'm looking to do here is to hit Warcry and charge into the flank of those moving Carthaginians. I want to get my effective against armor axemen in amongst those heavily armored Carthage units there on a flank attack. Okay, I'd never attack them head on, but I will attack them while they're moving in their flank. Okay, so just watch out for that. That's what I'm looking to do. Okay, going to hit Warcry, but here you can see, as I say, the Numidian troops are already starting to buckle under the pressure of those chosen swordsmen and those Seleucid pikemen there. Watch out for a mass rout of our Numidian ally. Right, here we go. You can see here, time is the essence here. I need to be fast. I need to hit those Carthaginians hard in the flank. I've hit Warcry. My axemen are going into... But can you see that the Carthage general is still moving from left to right? Okay, can you still see that? His trajectory is still from left to right. He's not turning his spearmen to face the attack coming in on his flank. So I'm just going to press that attack in there. Make no mistake, here you can see a lot of the Numidians have already routed. Right, now, what I said to you about berserkers here, you need to use them carefully and thoughtfully here. Okay, what I want to do here, these two, I want to attack here. That's why I've bought them there. I want them to attack those enemy troops there, and keeping one berserker unit left that I want to help my axemen and night raiders attack the Carthaginians. Okay, so that's what I'm looking to do here. the two there to attack those Gaul troops, and the other one to help me against the Carthaginians there. And watch as I activate the Berserkers right. Can you see the Berserkers have been activated there? Okay, when the red banner flashes, the Berserkers have been activated right. So you'll see that the two I wanted to has attacked, but here you see that our Numidian ally is basically mass routed here. Okay, you'll see that our Numidian, as we thought, the Gaulish chosen swordsman and the Seleucid pikemen have punched a hole into and through our Numidian ally and has mass routed his units. You'll see Vicox is bringing some of his Spartans in to try and stabilise the situation. Here you'll see that Vicox is doing something that he wouldn't normally do, put his short spear Spartans up against the long pikes of Macedon. Okay, but he's attacking now as much as he can just to hold and pin them. But here's the elephants that we saw earlier. Remember that Fesen was slowly moving around in behind the enemy troops. Now, he's got the elephants there. Is he going to smash into the back of the Macedonians? Is he going to smash into the back of the Seleucids and the Gaul troops? Or is he going to smash into the back of the Carthaginians here? It'll be interesting to see which way Fesen is going to take those elephants. Okay? With their with their big attacking specifications and a massive fear factor that they're bringing as well. Okay, you'll see my Germanic troops really making inroads and routing those Carthage troops there. Remember, the heavier the armour, the more the effective against armour axemen's bonus comes in. Right, here comes the elephant, gonna smash into the back of those Carthage troops in a sandwich attack here, look, and bang! Actually, it's a hammer and anvil attack. My troops being the anvil, and the elephants being the hammer and anvil into those Carthaginian troops. You will see that the Gaulish generals trying to send reinforcements over, but they're going to mass rout. If you notice here, can you see I've got my general and the screeching women over here to give morale bonus to my troops, with the rallying bugle for the general and the screeching women there. Okay, but you can see a heck of a lot of the enemy troops, and those Gaulish troops are going to mass rout because their Carthage allied troops have mass routed. Okay, it's going to start a chain rout there. And there you are, you can see all the Gaulish army, all the Carthage army has now been completely routed there. Okay, it's only the Macedonians of Mars that are still fighting there. As I say, the Seleucids, the Gauls, and the Carthaginians now have been completely mass routed there. Okay, and then over here, it wouldn't surprise me if those Macedonians just kind of routed. There you are, they just given up the fight and just routed. They haven't been, Mars hasn't admitted defeat. It's just that they saw all their allies mass routing, their morale dropped like a stone, and they have mass routed as well. Just pause the game for a second here. So it looks like our team has managed to go on to win the battle there. Let's say if you look here, you can see the masses of dead. Look at those Gaulish dead there. Oh my gosh, I know my couple of berserkers were really laying into them there. You can see the massive Carthaginian dead there as well, and the Numidian elephants there being killed as well there. But as I say, if you look around the battlefield here, you'll see loads of enemy dead there. You can see, unfortunately, that's a lot of Numidian legionnaires there have been wiped out in that mass rout we saw there. But as I say here, you can see there a lot of enemy dead. And my Germanic troops catching the Carthaginians in the flank there as they were moving, and then the elephants coming in behind. Oh my gosh, started a mass, well, you saw it, didn't you? A mass chain rout of all the enemy troops there. So, as I say, it looks like our team has managed to go on to win. Here you can see a couple of my battle damaged berserkers going into the Gaulish cavalry there. And he was charging the cavalry into my Gaulish, the Gaulish cavalry, into my Germanic berserkers there. Berserkers still holding on there against those odds, chopping down those cavalry there, and who's just mass routed as well. So, and we had the Greek city light cavalry in there as well. Right, okay. First thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game there. I thought everybody played well. It was a great battle and a clear victory. Yeah, I suppose with the mass rout that we got, a clear victory would be right, not average. And the highest kills in the game, believe it or not, goes to a 2007, 2008 army and battle formation there. 2,429 kills there, as I say, from an army and battle formation from 2007, 2008, still can be effective on the 2025 Rome Total War battlefield there. I reached back in time and pulled that army out. Okay, so well done to Mars there. Got some great kills with his Macedonians. I would suggest a lot of those kills with the Dacians there. Well done to the Kirminator. He'll be disappointed that he didn't get 1,000 kills there. Well done to Tabor. He'll be disappointed he didn't get 1,000 kills as well. And well done to Roy. He'll be disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills as well. But it was the mass rout that stopped him from getting the good kills. Well done to Vicox. Got some really good kills there with his Spartan army. Look at the troops he's got left. Still got loads of troops left. Well done to Fesen with his Numidian army there. Look at that. And well done to Spitfyr. Now, bearing in mind he got smashed, crashed and bashed in the woods on the right flank. To get over 1,000 kills, well done to Spitfyr there. I thought there, you know, he's done really well to get over 1,000 kills. I'd just like to show you something here. Can you see that my Germanic army managed to scrape in the highest kills? Mars got the second highest kills, but look who got the third highest kills. Numidia. Numidia got the third highest kills. And if you look, it's only what? 5 kills less than what Mars got. You see that? He only got 5 kills less than Mars got, or he could have been second highest kills there. So well done to Fesen with Numidia. Goes to show, doesn't it, if you change the rules a little bit, how you can make the weakest faction, 31k faction, get some really good kills. Now, what about faction advantage there? So we had Germania, Greek cities, Numidia, and Dacia. They had Macedon, Carthage, Seleucid, and Gaul. So do you think there was a faction advantage there at all? Just please put your thoughts in the comments about that. Anyway, just thought, I hope you found it interesting talking about the Germania faction. For me, as I say, Germania is a very unusual and unique faction. It's got the strength to be battle winning, but also it can be very fragile and mass rout if you get the timing wrong. Okay, it's a Spartan Commander saying please leave your thoughts in the comments. Always nice to read about our battles, and bye for now.